Okay, what's up, guys? Everybody, King fam, appreciate it. You decided to check back in with me and see. This is a very interesting part. I promise you, I promise you, I promise you. And no, I'm not going to start off by rambling. I'm going to get straight into it. So check this out. This is another link. This was another vision that I had. This is when a little bit after I got my greatest blessing from my father. Excuse me. After I decided to fully fall back and let myself be destroyed all I could take, and be so fearful of falling back in the darkness. And I finally, my father showed me who I was spiritual wise, my spiritual identity. And it changed my life, and it will change my life forever. After that point, I'll get to the story of that. I'm sorry, guys. I get so excited because I want to just slowly piece things in while I share with you the pieces of revelation or prophecy that I'm showing. But I just want to slowly unwind. I'll get to the parts about my stories, but most importantly, I need to make sure that the word sinks in with you guys just like it has with me. And if not, then I pray that through these stories of witnessing and through these pieces of prophecy that I'm unraveling with you guys bit by bit, piece by piece. I just hope that God helps you to open up, first of all, your heart first, and then your spiritual ears and your spiritual eyes, so that you can hear and see correctly, like He has ordained for you to. But so catch this. This poem that I wrote, guys, I redid it because my old Facebook that I started off, when I first started into my calling and what I was chosen to take part in, my old Facebook got hacked, and I wrote a poem about a vision I had of Jerusalem. And no, I do not mean the place Jerusalem. I'm talking about the woman Jerusalem. That, yes, the Bible character Jerusalem of the latter days. I had a vision about her. It was about, I want to say, roughly around two, maybe, if it was even, I don't think it was even 2 years yet after we had worked together. Which, long story short, if you haven't checked out the previous part of the videos, I was talking about, we ran across each other in work. It's crazy because, Revelation chapter 12 has 17 verses in it. I don't think you would call that a coincidence, would you? Especially after what I told you, she officially was Jerusalem. And I didn't know at first if she was Zion or Jerusalem, or Zion and Jerusalem was the same female, but it was made clear to me, and I talked about that in another video. But so after I realized my calling, and I was given little pebbles, pieces at a time, to realize who I was and things that I would go through, and what I was sent to do. I spoke with it little by little, about a few visions that I've had since 2020. I think is when I had my first vision, in 2020, and in the midst of these visions, I had a. They always seem pretty short-lived, but I hate when they're over because it blows me away when I wake up from them. Haven't had a vision in a while, but this vision of Jerusalem. Uh, before now, before I review, I think I talked about I might have talked about that vision before. I'm not sure exactly about where I was like in the corner. I might have, okay. I think I just unleaked it on my Facebook, but I'm going to share with you guys on YouTube so it can go out further and hopefully just spread a witness of what you heard about and how God uh, has already been working through Israel. And if you guys don't know me, by the way, um, you can call me Mitchell, and the just regular society 3D life, but spiritually, I am the Israel of Isaiah. Check out the rest of my videos. It'll explain, certain pieces leading up to why I know who I am and so on and so forth. I don't want to get too wordy about it, but um, yeah, I'm Israel, and I personally know who Jerusalem is. I know of Zion, the daughter of Zion. After my journey started, actually ran across her in 2021, and I don't really know what they're doing right now. I mean, I really like to be in contact with my kingdom fam, but I don't know what part they're at in scripture. This all sounds crazy. I know it really does, because me saying it right now sounds like it would be crazy just talking to a bunch of people um, on a video. But yeah, it's real life. This is real, and I'm going to show you. I want to witness to you something that makes it even realer. So, based on the vision that I had, I wrote a poem. I'm a bit of a psalmist sometimes when I'm not witnessing to people or sharing things with them that I feel like my Father puts on my heart to share. I like a little bit of, psalms, making up some psalms that uh, expressing how I feel, things that I'm going through, things to come. Um, I feel certain ways at certain times, or if it reminds me of parts of scripture, I just get the urge to write some poetry. But by far, I told people this is my favorite one, even though me and Jerusalem, I feel like, are not on uh, good terms. I don't know how she feels, okay? But all I know is we got our separate walk with our Father before we can be united as Kingdom fam and get the word that we're going to be at peace in the land that we're promised. And I hope to be united with my Kingdom fam before we even get there. But got captivity to worry about and all that stuff. But anyways, we're not getting into all that. That's for certain parts, certain other lessons. God forbid my rambling. So I wrote a poem based on my vision, which explains it as good as I possibly could through song. Okay, and I'm going to read that because this computer, I haven't ordered a battery for it, and if you move the cord a certain way, it just cuts right off because it has to stay hooked up for it to work. So before I move it a certain way and the poem goes away, I'm going to read the poem first thing before I get into any more scripture, okay? So the name of the poem that I wrote is called The Other Side of a Mirror. And might confuse me a little bit because of the format. I had to transfer it over to another program for it to open up for me. Okay, so The Other Side of the Mirror, part two, the remake of the one that was on my other Facebook. I, it says I've net. It. Sorry guys, I'm getting tongue tied here. If if I've ever witnessed a vision, it was this one. If I've ever witnessed a vision, it was this one, like no other dream I've ever had. Also bright and vivid it was, yet looking a little like the view of a fairy tale, though I couldn't see myself. I was hovering below the right side of a dresser as some hovering small being. If I were to state what must have been, I would call it seeing a vision in the spirit. I had never seen from a side of view like this one. The first thing I turn to see is a familiar person I used to know, but at the same time I still do. Anyways, the image that took place appeared to be her sitting on what seemed to be some sort of a uh, oh my gosh. You know what, guys? I feel like I'm in the wrong one right now. Oh my gosh. Don't want to keep. I've already had to redo start another video recording, but God willing, Father help me. Let's see. Notepad. Okay, let's see if this is the problem for sure. Okay, maybe this isn't the original one that I put on Facebook, but either way, it's close enough. So you'll get the idea though when I read it. Okay, if I've ever witnessed a vision, it was this one, like no other dream I've ever had. Also bright and vivid it was, yet looking a little like the view of a fairy tale, though I couldn't see myself. I was hovering below the right side of a dresser as some hovering small being. If I were to state what must have been, I would call it seeing a vision in the spirit. I had never seen from a side of view like this one. The first thing I turn to see is a familiar person I used to know, but at the same time I still do. Anyway, the image that took place appeared to be her sitting on what seemed to be some sort of a dresser stool, maybe. My spirit, as I referred to myself as, was hovering about midway of it, so midway of the stool, like level with the stool that she was sitting on, though facing the opposite direction of the woman. Sorry, I need to put this in full. Choking here, guys. Sorry. Okay, was hovering about midway of it, though facing the opposite direction of the woman that seemed to be decking herself in the mirror. Okay. Sorry guys, it's stretched out the way this is formatted here. Just bear with me. Um, the room was small as I looked around after perceiving with a locked on conscience to what she was doing. As I remember, she seemed to be clothed in all white, gazing into the mirror, adjusting her looks for the place she were to be preparing for. So the place she were to be preparing for, wherever that may be or been at the time. Such a powerful meaning of a dream. How could I state even the type of time period at the given time? Oh yes, forgive me for trailing off and forgetting the very steps of how it went in motion. After I perceived such a clear part of the vision and took all in the motion of the woman very familiar in front of the mirror that was facing this mirror sitting against the wall of the very small room, which I must pause to say, I said this once in the first part that ended up lost or deleted just in different words. I couldn't help but marvel and awe. I admit the sight. I admit the sight that I was seeing was also beautiful. All the way back over here. Hold on, guys. Sorry. The way she was innocently preparing herself and carefully strumming through her hair and making sure her face was of unquestionable standards. I couldn't help but wonder where she was planning to go with such a beautiful glow and posture, sitting upright, unlike in any way I've ever seen her before. After this, my view started zoning to the front of me, but behind her as she continued to gaze into the mirror. In front of me was an open door pulled inward. Oh my Lord, the view of what I seen just outside of it. If I could say I seen a glimpse of heaven before, I could be I could be there already. Surely it must have been a gaze of what the pastures look like in heaven. It was such a perfect breeze blowing as what looked as if there were almost golden colored tall weeds of grass, brighter than ever, wisping in the midst of such a tranquil and peaceful breeze in such a perfect pattern. I'll never forget the view of all of it. Such a short based, bright, and bold vision. Though the timing I was allowed, I missed not one thing. Slowly, I was led to observe every single bit of it, frame by frame. If I had a summary to put into context, I would ask first the possibility of being summoned into some type of witchcraft. That is, if I were to look to any other explanation of such a dream so enticing, but it wasn't. Back over here. Um, there's only one that could have summoned me, and it must have been by his Holy Spirit. How could any other artist paint such a vision with such meaning and oh so vivid and beautiful? I've said it before and I'll say it again. The only thing I could compare to it It must have been a little taste of something compared to an undeniable vision like that of like like that of Ezekiel's. Me, sorry guys, I know it don't sound that good where I'm having to scroll back to the end one of the pages to another, um, from one end of the page to another. But okay, I say that especially because it also pertained to a strong meaning of a very symbolic open door like no other opening I'd ever seen before. I still ponder sometimes all the day long whether it may be a vision of what already is in the spirit or maybe what will be. All I can make of it right now is there must be an existing sight somewhere in between. Some call it another dimension. I call it seeing in the spirit. In this case, what looked to be on the other side of what seemed like a realm beyond life, in a place that only God must allow to exist on the other side of a mirror. Okay, guys, I really don't. I really think that was the unedited one, and the where things were deleted off of this computer. Um, I don't know how it happened, but I really think the one on that flash drive uh, was not the final editing. So, man, if only I could look on Facebook and find that if I can and I have time to squeeze in and edit in another video, um, I will. But not far away from me in 30 minutes again, guys. But anyways, the the basis of the poem, though, guys, in my vision, I was kind of cornered in the corner right here. It looked like almost like, if you guys know what a grotto is, does that make sense? A grotto, like a little, little, little tiny based house out in the middle of a prairie or something is what it looked like. But it was a very small room, and I was sitting in the corner, kind of cat cornered, and the dresser was like this, and Jerusalem was sitting facing in the opposite direction of me. But I didn't look at first what was in front of me. I noticed how she was positioned first and what she was doing, and God allowed me to take that in and absorb what was going on, what she looked like. And she was in front of a mirror, getting all prettied up and stuff and prepared for something, is what I took it as in the dream, how I interpreted it. And after I studied her and what she looked like and the level of where I was hovering, I think that has some symbolism as well, hovering like at the mid level of the stool that she was sitting. But after I studied that view, it's like I slowly uh, go to look at an open door. It was open inward. And what I seen outside, oh my gosh, if that was a glimpse of heaven, you guys, had to have been. Had to have been an open door to heaven, like as close to being in, uh, you know, calling it an in between realm. What else could it have been other than seen in the spirit? And it was just such a beautiful pasture, just in a perfect pattern, just breeze and whirring in the wind. and so peaceful and tranquil. And oh my gosh, the brightness of it. Um, I don't guess people that knows Thomas Kincaid. That's my mom's favorite type of puzzles to put together. I don't care how bright Thomas Kincaid gets with his puzzles. I guarantee you, it didn't top off uh, this masterpiece of a view, man. Oh my gosh, it was just so peaceful and so tranquil, and almost just like you just want to step outside and just be in the spirit of the wind of the, I don't know, just almost feel, just thinking about it now, it would have felt just like complete being a part of the wind that was going through the, and it was gold, like golden tips. The weeds was golden, like so bright, vivid, and golden, and it was just a perfect pattern, just like it was orchestrated by God itself. Just a perfect pattern. The way the wind was blowing with the pastures, and oh my gosh, it had to be. It just had to be a glimpse of heaven. Had to be, and but I wish I could have seen the kingdom, God's throne and stuff like Ezekiel and the other prophets, and oh my gosh, that would have been awesome. But just, the way my life's been, just seeing that peaceful view, just a taste of the pastures of what they must look like in heaven. And after that, after seeing that, that's when I woke up. Now, here's the crazy part, right? After being all over the place trying to, goodness gracious. Okay, so pertaining to that, um, other than the dream, but also, uh, mind you, I was told by a friend from high school that knows, I'm not going to say her name, but Jerusalem. Uh, I was told that she had 3 kids, right? Well, get this, the beginning of Hosea, it talks about a woman uh, that Jose is supposed to take named Gomer, right? Well, get this, it talks about her having 3 kids. Well, Jerusalem, as far as I know, I don't know why this person would have lied to me about it. Had no reason to, and I don't think that he knew this part in the Bible. I've never heard anybody talk about it specifically. It was just meant for me to come across to see it like I seen it, like it really is. It talks about 3 different kids, uh, and the Lord said unto him, uh, "Call his name Jezreel, for yet a little while, and I will avenge the blood of Jezreel upon the house of Jehu, and will cause to cease the kingdom of the house of Israel." And then down here it says, "And she conceived again and bare a daughter, and God said unto him, Call her name Lo Ruhamah, for I will no more have mercy upon the house of Israel, but I will utterly take them away." Okay, and on up here, verse 9, it says, then said God, or, sorry, verse 8, "Now when she had weaned Lo Ruhamah, she conceived and bare a son. Then said God, Call his name Lo Ami, for ye are not my people, and I will not be your God. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, Ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, Ye are the sons of the living God. Then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together, and appoint themselves one head, and they shall come up out of the land. for great shall be the day of Jezreel. And the link to that side reference goes to Isaiah uh, 11 and 12, talking about the latter days. So it does pertain to the latter days, this uh, part in biblical history, but it foreshadows the upcoming God's chosen people. And it's just crazy how God reveals things, man. So crazy. And it says right here on verse 7, and get this is how you know that it is linked to Jerusalem, which is the Jerusalem that I know, the Jerusalem of the latter days. Chapter 2, chapter 2, verse 7, it says, "And she shall follow after her lovers, but she shall not overtake them, and she shall seek them, but shall not find them. Then shall she say, I will go and return to my first husband, for then was it better with me than now." And give this a side reference in this Bible. It goes to Ezekiel chapter 16. And you know what it talks about in Ezekiel chapter 16? It introduces Jerusalem herself. And it talks about where the land of her nativity is, where she came from, and speaks a little bit about how she's going to be, what she's going to go through. Um, but cut to the chase, you guys can read Ezekiel 16 yourself because I've read it before, and you can read about it. It talks about her, um, her mother and father being an Amorite and a Hittite, and it talks about her three sisters, which the Jerusalem I know, the one and only Jerusalem. I'm sorry, not three sisters. It talks about her two sisters, which biblically is Sodom, her younger sister, and her elder sister is Samaria, and Jerusalem is the middle daughter. And in real life, she really is. She's the middle daughter, and I base that because I still remember like the few letters that we wrote back and forth to each other. She explained that she had, two other sisters, and I was like, wow, it really is the person it talks about in the Bible, and so am I. That person in Isaiah, like I still can't believe it, but I'm sitting here like clear as day, witnessing to you guys about this. Like this is dead serious. This is true. Believe it or not, that's who we are. But pertaining to the dream, guys. Don't uh, don't go away just yet. uh, Verse 15, chapter 2, it says, "And I will give her her vineyards from thence, and the valley of Achor for a door of hope." It talks about that person in Revelation chapter 3, verse 7, the key of, he who holds the key of David. And I'm going to say it word for word. I'm just giving you guys something to think about how crazy this is. Because I want y'all to get interested and want to chase after prophecy like I do. I want everybody to. Okay, so, and by the way, like I said in other video, my birthday is December the 7th, and hers is December 17th. Well, this is chapter 3, verse 7. "And to the angel of the church in Philadelphia write, These things saith he that is holy, he that is true, he that hath the key of David, he that openeth and no man shutteth, and shutteth and no man openeth. I know thy works. Behold, I have set before thee an open door." Think about my vision, right? Set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it. For thou hast a little strength, and hast kept my word, and hast not denied my name. Right? Okay. Well, over here talking about Jerusalem, it says the valley of Achor for a door of hope. So maybe what I was seeing was this valley that looked like a glimpse of heaven almost. You know what I mean? It says, "And she shall sing there as in the days of her youth, and as in the day when she came up out of the land of Egypt. And it shall be at that day, saith the Lord, that thou shalt call me Ishi, and shalt call me no more Bali. For I will take away the names of Baalim out of her mouth, and they shall no more be remembered, and they shall no more be remembered by their name." Okay. So yeah, that's when I ran across that. I was like, man, that vision had to be that door of hope. Like, had to be. This is the only place in the Bible that talks about a woman and leaving a door of hope. That I know of, there's only two places in the Bible that I've seen that God promises someone that He's going to leave a door open for them, and that's two different people. Of course, he leaves heaven open for us, but there's going to be times He's going to, uh, you know, uh, going to have a storm covered, and it's going to be a blockage because of us being so rebellious and stuff like that. But specifically two different people He talks about leaving a door open for, and it just blew my mind when I think back on that vision. And another part of what reminds me pertaining to that vision, guys, check this out. Okay, that's Jose. Let's go over to Zechariah. I think it's Zechariah 5. Is it? Okay, I'm gonna read this whole. It's not too long. Okay, it says, "Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. And he said unto me, What seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. Then said he unto me, This is the." Okay, sorry. Let's talk about the curse. Let's see. Okay, verse 5 in chapter 5 says, "Then the angel that talked with me went forth and said unto me, Lift up now thine eyes and see what is this that goeth forth. And I said, What is it? And he said, This is an ephah that goeth forth. He said, Moreover, this is their resemblance through all the earth. And behold, there was lifted up a talent of lead." Okay. "And this is a woman that sitteth in the midst of the ephah." And think about my vision, guys. I'm telling you, step by step, I was like a hovering being, maybe orb, whatever you want to call it. I couldn't see myself, but I just know I was there in the midst of the air, just sitting, hovering in a balance, like just in between, right? But level with the stool that Jerusalem was sitting on, level with the stool, and I was looking at her from this side of view. She was faced this way, I was faced that way, um, looking towards the door. But when I looked at her, I noticed I was right in the midst, in the middle of the stool, level with the stool, okay? Looking from the side of this dresser. And this is a woman that sitteth in the midst of the ephah. And he said, This is wickedness. And he cast it into the midst of the ephah. And he cast the weight of lead upon the mouth thereof. So if I was to be leaned back and I had my mouth open in the vision, let's just speak for instance, uh, the weight on the mouth of the ephah. And um, after I read the rest of this, I'm going to give you a little souvenir that I just caught midst of the ephah. And he said, This is wickedness, and he cast it into the midst of the ephah. He cast the weight of the lead upon the mouth thereof. Then lifted I up mine eyes and looked, and behold, there came out two women. And I take it, the way I interpret this is talking about Zion and Jerusalem, because you go back to chapter 12, I firmly feel like it is talking about, if you read about Zion's background and Jerusalem, they're both going to be in a wilderness. And, well, I'm going to read some more. Just hold on, guys. Please bear with me. Then lifted I mine eyes and looked, and behold, there came out two women, and the wind was in their wings, for they had wings like the wings of a stork, and they lifted up the ephah between the earth and the heaven. Then said I to the angel that talked with me, Whither do these bear the ephah? And he said unto me, To build it an house in the land of Shinar, and it shall be established and set there upon her own base. And if you go in the book of Daniel, it talks about where, I'll let you guys do your own homework. It talks about where Shinar is actually at. Okay, let's go over here to Jeremiah 8:7. So Jeremiah 8:7. Jeremiah 8:7. Yea, the stork in the heaven knoweth her appointed times, and the turtle and the crane and the swallow observe the time of their coming. Observe the time of their coming. But my people know not the judgment of the Lord. How do ye say, We are wise, and the law of the Lord is with us? Lo, certainly in vain made he it. The pen of the scribes is in vain. Okay, and there's a part down here. It talks about in verse 11, it's actually talking about Zion. It says, For they have healed the hurt of the daughter of my people slightly, saying, Peace, peace, when there is no peace. But yeah, that's just, what is this? But yeah, I firmly believe that's also talking about a link of prophetically speaking about Zion and Jerusalem together, because it says, And the swallow observe the time of their coming, but my people know not the judgment of the Lord. Okay, now let's see. Okay, and I'm gonna go to this part of let's see, go back over here in Zechariah, right? I hope and pray you guys get interested and start wanting to do some digging and linking and hopping and skipping around for yourself. Okay, so back over here in Zechariah. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's chapter 9. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna start reading from chapter 2 in Zechariah, uh, chapter 2, verse 7 first. Actually, sorry guys, I keep having to go back because I want to make sure I don't miss anything that I meant to say in order. Starting with chapter 2, here's a souvenir for you. And oh wow, yes, over 30 minutes, of course. Okay, chapter 2. I lifted up mine eyes again and looked, and behold, a man with a measuring line in his hand. Then said I, Whither goest thou? And he said unto me, To measure Jerusalem, to see what is the breadth thereof, and what is the length thereof. Side reference, Revelation 11:1. Okay, go over here at 11:1. And there was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood, saying, Rise and measure the temple of God, and the altar, and them that worship therein. But the court which is without the temple leave out, and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles. So, like I said, I want to throw in a little bit about the Gentiles and God's chosen together throughout this length of the videos, guys. I might be back and forth a little bit, but that's why it pays to please check out the rest of the video, guys. I know uh, I zone out and I'm a little bit rocky back and forth, guys, but catch these things. I'll get off from one subject to another, but one will pop back up and link to the other subject that I was talking about in another part. So you just gotta keep up with me, guys, and even if you want to, do your own research. The parts that I speak on, rewind if you have to. Do some digging, not only in my videos, but do your own digging. Seriously, guys, because the best way to understand this and get the wisdom and knowledge, um, like my father's shown me, is to dig in and have a personal one-on-one relationship yourself. That could be why he makes me, trip up on my words sometimes because he wants you guys to study it yourself. But either way, you can tell the things that I talk about, they go hand in hand. Um, they link off of each other. You know what I'm saying? Goes from one thing to another. Uh, but I hope that that much right there has you guys interested because I wrote down a little bit more to uh, cover and everything, talking about the characters and the ways the prophecies link together, and how they you know jump one right off to another, into another link, into another piece of the puzzle. Okay, but please, if you're interested so far, guys, I hope and pray that you check out all of my stuff. But mainly, I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm going to start it off in the next video where I left off with this, because let's see here. Oh no, because I had to finish this part, guys, because it speaks about Zion and Jerusalem, and this is an important link, right? In chapter 2, after talking about um, the person that's talking about measuring Jerusalem, then you see in Revelation 11 and 1, that's what that reflects off of, right? Okay, well, verse 7, well, start on verse 6. It says, Ho, ho, come forth and flee from the land of the north, saith the Lord, for I have spread you abroad as the four winds of the heaven, saith the Lord. Um, verse 7 says, Deliver thyself, O Zion, that dwellest with the daughter of Babylon. For thus saith the Lord of hosts, after the glory hath he sent me unto the nations which spoiled you, for he that toucheth you toucheth the apple of his eye. Um, Verse 10 says, Sing and rejoice, O daughter of Zion, for lo, I come, and I will dwell in the midst of thee, saith the Lord. And skipping down to verse 12, And the Lord shall inherit Judah his portion in the Holy Land, and shall choose Jerusalem again. Be silent, O all flesh, before the Lord, for he is raised up out of his holy habitation. Now, check this out, guys. In chapter 3, keep in mind chapter 12 of Revelation, the woman in the wilderness, right? Uh, Supposedly, Satan is going to chastise and tempt her, or whatever. The way that I would interpret it, or I would think that other people would hear it read to them or read to their self. The face of the beast, which is the devil. He's going to be in front of her, chastising her, just trying to give all that he's got to, I guess, at the most, try to make her think she needs to be condemned or something, right? Okay, catch this. And he shewed me Joshua the high priest standing before the angel of the Lord, and Satan standing at his right hand to resist him. And the Lord said unto Satan, The Lord rebuke thee, O Satan, even the Lord that hath chosen Jerusalem rebuke thee. Is not this a brand plucked out of the fire? Again, you think about chapter 12, right? Bounce that off of chapter 3 in Zechariah, verse 1 through 2. And it also talks about, Joshua throwing away his filthy garments and being clothed in a change of raiment. But mainly, I just wanted you to focus on Zion and Jerusalem in those two parts, leaving off the last half of chapter 2 and then going into the beginning of chapter 3. Notice how right off the bat it goes from Zion and then to Jerusalem. Like I said, the wings of the stork, the two women with the wind caught on their wings. I'm not saying nothing else. I hope you guys got this part, and I hope that it caught your interest. Sorry for being all over the place. Again, I apologize. Trying to get better at this, but yeah, the two women, wings of a stork, wind caught in their wings. Think about my vision, and I'm gonna leave it that on this video. So I hope that you check out some other important parts that I mentioned in the videos to come. Much peace, love, and many prayers to you guys. In Jesus' name.